Hello and welcome to Gravitas Wins Conversations. I'm your host, Joseph Jude. Generative AI has mostly been applied to digital problems, writing text, generating images, and coding software. But what happens when you bring AI agents into the physical world where trucks get stuck in traffic, warehouses run out of parking space, and even weather can disrupt your operations? That's where the real complexity starts. My guest today is Sarang, Head of Engineering at Smile Digital and AI Labs. His team is building AI agents not just to handle customer queries across email and WhatsApp, but also to optimize intra-logistics, managing real-time warehouse operations using telemetry, weather data, and predictive models. It's a fascinating example of how AI can directly impact physical businesses. We are going to discuss how to build AI-first systems for logistics, what makes physical world different for AI, and what engineering leaders need to consider when deploying AI at scale. Before we get into the interview, can I request you to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, and share the podcast with your fellow business leaders? Hello, Sarang. Welcome to the conversation.
Hello, Joseph. Thank you for hosting me.
Sarang, let's start with this. Tell me about Smile and your role in it and what problems your team is solving with AI.
Smile is into supply chain and logistics, and also in terms of adopting a new development and software ecosystem to be specific. My job there is to enable my businesses with the data, not only to look at it, but there should be some actionable items for them. So along with my team, I'm solving some of the very specific problem, which is how the shipment moves, customer experience, and all about intra-logistics.
Okay. Why is logistic particularly a hard but also interesting domain for applying AI?
I wouldn't say, Joseph, it's hard. Definitely, it's a challenging. Just to prove it, uh, to give you an example, let's say you order something from an Amazon, and you would expect it to be there immediately. But there is a huge amount of complexity that goes behind, and that's what exactly makes it challenging. The coordination between human, warehouse, shipment, delivery, expectations, it's enormous.
And how do you handle that?
If you ask me before AI and after AI, I can differentiate that. If it is before AI, so it's a very simple, like a normal software. As you put an order, the request goes to your nearest warehouse. Then we figure it out, the stock is not there, so it gets to a different warehouse. Once the warehouse is there, then you assign a rider for it. Once the rider is there, you need to pick, pack, and make the shipment ready to move. By the time rider reaches there, once the rider is there, and then it moves to the respective location where it is ordered from. And most of it happens very sequentially. But now with an AI, it has removed a lot of such blockers. First thing, you don't need human coordination. It's an orchestration engine that we have, which actually orchestrate to multiple different systems along with humans to move the shipment.
Okay. So you talked about the before AI and after AI. We'll double down on all of those things in the podcast. But before that, you started with one thing. When you order, you would want it to be delivered immediately. Obviously, all the customers wants that. And I'm sure they keep checking. At least I do that. Keep checking. When is the order going to be delivered? Where is it? What's the transit? Or is it going to be delivered today? If it is going to be delivered 10 a.m. in the morning, evening 7 o'clock, so that I can plan my day.
Oh,
So with that respect, I'm assuming there's quite a lot of customer queries coming in. So how do you handle customer queries? Do you apply any AI in it? How do you handle this? This is going to be a little more tricky because there are humans involved. So how do you handle that particular piece?
as you rightly pointed out, every customer wants to know where this shipment lies and when am I going to receive it. To be honest, this is $1 million question for me. Every time I hear this, if I get even a 1 rupee, I would be enjoying my life on the beach rather than solving this problem. So what happens usually, like in today, when customer receives the query, first thing that they need to do is identify the last location of the shipment. And then once they identify, they need to understand who is the area manager or the hub manager where the shipment lies in. And once they understand that, then they need to figure out the number or email for an hub manager, call them, understand the real story. Because when I call, they might be stuck in the traffic. After understanding that, and then I need to give a very nicely quoted response to my customer saying, sorry, ma'am, you will receive it in another hour. Whereas even that customer care don't know whether that is going to receive in another hour or not. But now the drastic change that we have done is they don't need to assume things. With respect to a lot of telemetry that we are using today, helps us to pinpoint where the exact location of the shipment is, whom to send a message, and how to set the right expectation with the customers. And this we can do simultaneously with the help of AI in picture. Otherwise, you might have heard earlier as well. You call to a customer cares and you keep waiting. For 5 minutes, you hear the noise. You are in queue. Now there is no such queue. You get a real-time status of even if the shipment, before you mention out for delivery, you already know where the shipment is.
So
That way.
you talked about the telemetry. Can you tell me what these telemetries are? What are these data points that you are gathering, and why they are crucial?
So now, when we introduced AI, telemetry has become really important for us. So what I essentially mean by telemetry is not just the data that is coming from your web. It also includes the data coming from your vehicle, which is the GPS. It also includes the feeds that is coming from the camera of the vehicle or from the warehouse. It also includes nowadays we also have a locks which actually gives you the GPS location. You can open it, those data. So there are multiple such telemetry data that we use. Think of this telemetry as eyes and ears of the logistics ecosystems. And that's the way we look at telemetry.
Okay. So now all of this is coming in, and have you built your own Gen AI models or AI models to process this, or are you using a third party already existing models?
So what we have done, Joseph, is like we have not built our own from scratch. We have taken an open source model and then we are training it on a very specific domain into which we are, which is logistics and supply chain. So that gives us a little bit of edge to do it faster,
Understood.
experiment more things.
I think this has been the pattern for so many of the domain applications. They take the foundation model, whatever that model is, and then they train it on their own domain data. Okay, so now all of this telemetry data is coming in. There is a foundational model. Can you walk me through what happens with all of those kinds of stuff? So let's say, for example, I'm sure there is a customer facing operations, then there is your warehouse operations, and so many other operations might be there. Take, for example, the customer facing one. I am ordering something and I'm waiting for a response. So in that particular case, how does this telemetry data comes into play? How does the model kind of process all of this data? When it is giving the response back to the customer, is it still human involved, or is it coming directly from these models? Can you give me some sense of that?
Yeah, sure, Joseph. The first thing that we need to understand is the way we orchestrate things. So let's take a small example for you to help me understand. Once you place an order on any e-commerce site or for anything per se, what happens is we need to figure it out where that exact inventory lies for the exact order that you have done. So it might be in your city, it might be nearest dark store, or it might be in some other city. Then we need to assign the right vehicle depending on the size and shape that you order. So for an example, you order a fridge and I send a rider on a bike, it will not work for me. Similarly, the other way around, if I order a small shipment and I send a truck, it will also not work for me. So there has a coordination between understanding the kind of vehicle, understanding the warehouse, the time it takes to pick, pack, and ship that item based on its size and shape and the distance allocated. So all of this happens at the same time. Not only this, but I also need to update Joseph saying your shipment is ready to pick. That's the message that I tell you. So basically, I'm reducing your curiosity of not knowing where my shipment is when am I supposed to receive it. And I also keep on updating you as a customer saying, okay, this has been picked up. The best example that I can quote to you is you might have seen on Swiggy when you order rider on the road. And that's the amazing example to remove the curiosity. And in this way, you don't even call to the customer care because you already know it is going to be there with me in another 10 minutes.
Okay. So what I'm understanding from you is while technology, AI in specific, might be playing a pivotal role, crucial role, still that psychology, the customer experience, how do you handle that customer experience, the UI design, the rider that you talked about, the UI design, all of that plays a huge role as well. It is not just the technology.
Me, as a tech counterpart, I don't emphasize much on UI. What I give liberty as an organization. So Joseph has his own logistic company and someone else has their own logistic company. It's the product that they decide how they want to show it. The major difference I can show you, like when you order from an Amazon, you won't see a rider coming. But when you order from a Zomato or a Swiggy, you see a rider coming. And this difference is just because of different category that you are ordering.
So you have these models, all of this is now built up. One of the thing in the software industry is test and validation.
Mm.
Now, these AI models are all probabilistic. They're not deterministic. So how do you test and validate using an AI model in the complex system where everybody is expecting a deterministic response? You cannot tell me probably you'll get it today, probably you'll get it tomorrow. I need definite answer. Now, Amazon was also spoiled by saying you'll get it by 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Right? To that particular extent, they have gone into a deterministic thing. So how do you test and validate these AI models?
Yeah, to be honest, this is really tricky. When I started, it was very different game for me. So what I have essentially done is like when I implemented all of this, I did it in a very safe environment. I'll give you one of my experience. We went to a warehouse and then we were just allocating a route to a vehicle. And we asked an AI model based on whatever we have, the training that we have done. Okay, this shipment route has to be a specific destination. Let's say for it's the Goa. We used to validate it with the real human experience, which we already have. And we used to cross check with the humans to say, is this the right destination? Is this the right route that the AI is supposed to do? Because it cannot be zeros and one where you can go and undo things. Let's say for an example, you ordered your watch to put certain category of shipments on X pallet, but where at the AI has put it on Y pallet. It's a cold category of shipment. It has put in ambient temperature. That will not work. In this case, it really becomes more important for us to coordinate with the on-ground team with their experience. They are actually the one who are actually training the AI agent, not we. We who are helping model to build with the data that we realistically receive from the ground.
So there's a human intelligence that is feeding in. And for testing also, you are saying there's a human part in validation.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what we do.
One of the question that comes in when I'm talking to my team and other technical counterparts is, it could be a question or it could be even a doubt. Okay, today there is a enormous human intelligence which can go into these models. Humans have fed all of the models, the input to the models. Tomorrow, what's going to happen? These humans are not going to be there. They are going to be replaced. They are going to lose their jobs or whatsoever. Tomorrow, the humans are not going to be there. Who will train these models? So tomorrow, so say for example, today, you have from Pune to Goa, you have a route. There is a human to validate it. Pune to Bombay, there is a human to validate it, and all of that is done, right? Now you have let go of those people. And you are starting from Pune to Chandigarh, say for example. Who will validate that route manually? That's a question.
So basically, I don't think we need to validate it for a long time. When we build an AI model, there is also something evaluation. So you need to reward your model for the right answer And you also need to penalize your model for the wrong answer. And that's the way we do a testing. Because as we grow, see, definitely as a human, we will also evolve while working with an AI. But not necessarily the way I put it in, like they will lose job. No, I'm not predicting that. What I'm essentially saying is today humans are helping us to predict route. Tomorrow, with the help of AI, I will add more such moving parameters which will help me to identify the right route. For an example, from Pune to Goa, there are two routes. Which one to take? If there is road construction in between, or if there is some cyclone in between, there are some fast track deliveries that we need to do. Can I move it with a bigger vehicle? Can I also take some small shipments and move it with a smaller vehicle to make sure like I deliver it on time? So those are the multiple parameters that will keep on evolving and adding to the AI agent. So to be honest, I'm not competing with human with AI.
Okay. Now let's switch gears. Since we are techies, we both build products. SDLC process is something that we follow for building products. How does this SDLC process has changed because you are using AI and also for a physical world? Is there any change in the SDLC process? Is there a different type of conceiving things or the different tools that you use? Can you share that?
There is a lot of change, but very first thing that I would want to point out, it's a mindset. I have seen a lot of my engineers, they think like they're competing with AI. Telling them like, no, you don't need to compete with them. You cannot win. You treat them as your assistants. I have been pushing them very hard to use tools, whichever tool that they like. It can be Cursor, it can be Claude. Some of the guys want some lovable, and I'm giving them free hand to use whichever tool you are comfortable with. You don't need to compete. That's what I have been emphasizing to them. And that has changed a lot of my processes in an SDLC. So I'll give you some of the examples. Like now engineers brainstorm whatever the project that they have been assigned with an AI for building their HLD, LLD, architectures, and test cases as well. So before this, they have been writing certain amount of test cases, which might not include some of the edge cases and the trade-offs. Now they are able to identify all of those. Not only identify, but they are asking more and more questions, what can happen? And whereas the entire time duration that used to take has been reduced drastically by 70-80%. Now they can complete in one day or like 10%, 20% of the time. And it is more precise, concise. So that has changed a lot of ways in which we are working. So, so few more things I would want to add, Joseph, before you ask me your next questions. So even while writing a function, they build their base code with the help of AI. On top of it, they run the validations or the test cases that they have already identified, and they keep on improving. So when you put it to the production, there are less P0s for us. Also improved a lot of productivity, efficiency, and time.
So I liked one of the phrase that you used, do not compete with the AI, you will not win, but treat it as an assistance and then your productivity will improve. I think that's the mindset that we need to adapt. Can you walk me through some of the tools? You already talked about Cursor, but can you walk me through some of the tools? Can you share some of the tools? You already talked about Cursor and Claude. Are there any other tools? Say, for example, for testing, what do they use? Are there any other tools that you're using?
So I have not restricted to use only one specific tool for one specific thing. So for an example, if you ask me for a test case, are we using Cursor? Yes, we are using Cursor. But along with that, are we using something else? Yes, we are also using that. I have been working very closely with one of the organization, Typo app. So they are helping to identify the vulnerabilities, securities, and all of those from an AI standpoint. We are also using other tools like Lovable. We are also experimenting with Drone HQ. And there are multiple other tools that we are using to generate queries, build data models. Uh, there are a lot of tools.
As again, as CTO, I struggle in this is that there are tons of tools that are coming in. There is, even in the IDE, we have Windsurf, Cursor, VS Code itself has introduced now. Say, for example, you choose Cursor. How do you choose to switch to another IDE what's your parameter in guiding that? And when do you say, okay, now is the time to switch to something else? So I'll give you an example. We were using VS Code. Let's say, for example, I'm using VS Code. Cursor comes in. Oh, this is a new thing. There is only one tool. So it is easy to make a decision whether you want to switch or not. And then there is a generative AI added into it, capability added into it. So you switch and start using it. Then there is Windsurf. Now you don't know whether you want to stick with Cursor and learn all of its nuances, or you want to start using Windsurf. And then, okay, you are hearing that, and you are hearing a lot of good things about Windsurf, and it's also been bought by OpenAI. So you think maybe I should try it out. And then GitHub comes in, Microsoft comes in. Oh, you know what? You can do this now in VS Code itself. How do you decide between choosing some of these tools in the same category?
Yeah. Earlier it was very difficult, Joseph, but now me and my team has settled down to some. I'll tell you our experience, our journey, the way we have been evolving. So we started with ChatGPT. Then someone came and said us like, Claude is the best for writing a code. I said, okay. And then another day I asked some of my team members, do you know about Claude? They said, yes, we know. Have you used it? They said, yes, we have used it. And then there was two groups. One is using the previous one and the other is using earlier one. And then, see, we do a retro after every sprint. And then with these two groups, I used to ask very specifically how much time it took for you and how much time you have understood that has really reduced for you or helped you. And then we used to get a clear-cut understanding. So another way what has happened, once we started using Cursor, someone also introduced us to v0.dev, which is Cursor. So what I have also realized, like all the backend guys have started focusing on Cursor, and most of the front-end guys started focusing on v0.dev. It's a natural cycle that their inclination went to the kind of work that they have been doing. So that's the way we have been doing a consistent experiment and then started evolving on that. But from the last 2-3 months, we have been settling down to some of the tools where we have gone and taken their paid versions as well. And we have been continuously using those.
Okay. Looking forward, now, what do you see? What excites you in the logistic world using Gen AI? What excites you? What are your plans? I know some of these things you cannot share openly, but whatever that you can share, either from a process point of view or from application point of view. When I say application of Gen AI models on logistics, what excites you? What are you working on?
The major excitement for me is I'm looking for a time when the orchestration will be so automated, like the two vehicles competing with each other for the faster delivery. So that's the reason I am looking at it. Coordination between human, machines, vehicles, IMS, OMS, TMS, all happening. And there is no chaos in logistics. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Do you think you will ever achieve there?
I think I will achieve.
Wow. So it would be really an utopian thing when there is no chaos. Yeah. Okay. Now, in this particular process, Sarang, what books, what tutorials and videos and courses, what has helped you to understand this particular Gen AI, and all of these kinds of stuff in a quicker, faster manner?
My main inspiration for moving toward AI was my manager, Mr. Ganesh AI. He has been pushing me very, very hard on new things, putting me always on an edge to do things. With this, I started learning with some of the books, and then I have joined a course with Mr. Raj Tandekar. He's running a course with the name of Vizura, which is a very hands-on experience for me, and from where I have picked it up. Now, recently, I have also started reading a book, AI for Manager, from Rahul Day, where it is helping me to understand how I can balance between business and the AI implementation that I need to do. Along with that, I have been continuously reading and writing both on LinkedIn, Mediums, and some of the experts in an industry I have been following, like Kante Karpati is one of those I follow.
Since you talked about LinkedIn and writing, I follow you obviously on LinkedIn, and I see your post, very in-depth post on engineering, architecture, and the different styles and patterns and everything. I want to spend a little bit time on that. How do you decide what to write, and how do you keep that particular consistency?
So I usually plan for 3 months period, what I want to learn and what I want to achieve. So whatever I learn, I just put the same thing on the LinkedIn. So it just helped me, like I should not forget it later. That's the simple mechanism which I have obviously learned from you. And I still remember those your 3 step process: consume, produce, and engage. And I think like you already have written an article on it, and I have been very consistent in following those.
Okay, thank you. Sarang, say for example, a CTO is starting today. CTO, technical architect, anybody, technical people are starting today in using AI, not really building models, but using AI. What would be your recommendations and suggestions how they should think about what's the mindset change that they need to have, what's the kind of projects that they can try out to understand this, and how they can start building these applications?
I think when you start, you might feel like there are hundred of different things that you would want to do. I won't suggest you to go all the places. What I would recommend is you identify a very specific problems in a business where you really want to make an impact. Once you identify, start collecting data. Very important. Irrespective it is good data, bad data, garbage, whatever it is, you start collecting those. And then you start taking help of your AI to understand the problem in a deeper sense of the world. And once you understand, then you will, in that journey, you will be able to figure it out how to use AI, what more you can do, and how to do. So that is what I would recommend for the new guys who really want to take hands on with an AI.
One thing that I liked in what you said is understand the problem, but use AI to understand the problem in a lot more detail. One of the things that repeatedly said in the startup world and whenever you are building a new product is fall in love with the problem. I think if you understand the problem in a really deeper manner in all of its dimensions and lenses and nuances, I think that is when your solution also, whether it is with AI, without AI, whatever that it is called, I think that is when it is going to be a lot more stronger.
I totally agree with you, Joseph, on that. And it's just because I have been consistently following the same mechanism, and that has worked for me until today.
Good. I want to touch upon the manager that you talked about. What I'm understanding from this conversation is yes, there is Gen AI, yes, there is models, there is orchestration, there's a lot of benefit it's bringing in, but that human curiosity, human management, and your manager pushing you into trying out new things, it still matters. Can you talk to me something about your manager's management style and your own management style with respect to managing technology?
I always believe, leadership, the person who is on the floor and there when there is a fire, basically the person who walks the path can help you really well. And I believe that's the style of my manager and my as well. He has been very consistent in helping me read, learn, and putting me on a nudge to learn different things. Most important things, he does not tells me what need to get or what need to do today, but he always gives me a vision, what is the future for you. And he is always standing very strong. And I can predict, like whenever the situation comes, he will be there to help me out and pick me up from there.
I think you are lucky.
Yeah, I am.
So I once had a manager and he became my mentor and he has opened a lot of doors for me. The fact that somebody is there out there when you have trouble, when you have escalations, when there is a pressure moment, when you know that there is somebody who is there who will support you, to whom you can lean on, that in itself gives you huge courage and confidence to go and solve things. He may or may not do that, but the fact that there is somebody helps you in solving these things really well. Thank you, Sarang, for sharing about your manager. Thank you for that. Sarang, to all my guests, I asked 3 rapid fire questions.
Mhm.
So here is the first one. What's the kindest thing anyone has done for you?
The kindest thing one time my friend's dad paid my uh, computer course fee. It was outside the curriculum and I was really in need of it, or rather, I was intent to do it. At that moment in time, I was not able to pursue it. But then that was the kindest moment where he paid my fees.
Fantastic. This podcast is about leadership. In that
Mhm.
sense, what do you think as the best leadership quality and who has manifested it in your life?
As you said, I have been lucky in all of those. There were a couple of managers who has always walked the path, stand strong when there was fires. And that is the quality even I would want to execute as a leader. And I believe those are the one who will change the world.
Thank you. Walk the path. That's the best leadership quality. Okay. The last one. What is your definition of living a good life?
To be in peace with your friends and families and enjoy a super ride.
Thank you. Thank you. Sarang, it is the one of the kindest thing that anybody can do. On a Saturday morning, you could be anywhere, but you chose to take this particular podcast interview and share your thoughts with me. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Professor. It's an honor to be on your podcast, and I wish I could come more often with different kind of category and talks.
We will do that. We will plan that, Sarang. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can I request you to share the key takeaways from our conversation? If you like the conversation, please share the podcast with others. Have a life of wins.